let's start with my reversion to a simpler time and discuss my search for single-purpose items, why I enjoy them, and why I have been going on this journey. I should preface this rant by saying I don't actually think that I'm a Luddite. I do not fear technology. I do not avoid technology. As you know, because I'm recording a video podcast, I have a new computer. I use technology and benefit greatly from the technological advances that are available to us. So I am not in whole a Luddite, but over the last 6 months or a year, I have been on this journey to avoid using my smartphone, to avoid using my iPad, to avoid using these devices that are technologically incredible. The ability to have a video camera, a photo camera, a voice recorder, a web browser, a dictionary, a note-taking device in your pocket is one of the greatest things in the history of humanity. But at the same time, these devices are not without their fault. I think they can, and in many cases do, have negative impacts on individuals. That's one of the reasons why I try to limit my use of a smartphone. But there are many other reasons why I try to replace the functionality, the amazing functionality and technology in a smartphone, with older technology, with single-purpose items. First one, I want to be more intentional. If I want to take a note and I pull out my smartphone, I may get distracted. I may end up on YouTube. I may end up downloading a podcast. But if I have an idea and I pull out a pad of paper and a pen, that is being much more intentional. I don't have any of those distractions. And when I am writing that note, I am writing that note. I am nowhere else. I don't have anything else going on. I'm not stressing out about my social media followers. I am solely writing a note. I am logging how much I ate. Oh, that's why you're being a fatty. Because you ate 2 burgers. Stop it. Oh, you lent yourself this much money from this other bank account. You need to pay that back. And I do have a note there. Okay, I need to pay myself back that much money. It is being significantly more intentional. If I were to pick up a book and read, I am making the intention, I am making the decision to read that book. It is not, oh, I have a few minutes down, what can I do? Oh, there's nothing on social media. I guess I'll open up the Kindle app and read a little bit. I am making the decision to read that book. I already alluded to it, the lack of distractions. It leads to less wasted time. When I am on my smartphone, when I am on my iPad, I may have my note app up, but then I'll get notifications. You got an email. There's a new podcast to download. Oh, one of the YouTube channels you subscribe to just released a new video. Oh, somebody just went live. There's this constant desire from these companies to pull you in because your attention is a commodity. And they want you to use their app because they want to earn money off of you. So by eliminating the use or limiting the use of these smart devices, the smartphones, the iPads, the computers, the social medias, it allows me to waste less time, have less distractions, have less people, less companies trying to draw my attention to them, and get directly to work. Focus on exactly what I am working on. But there's also less obsolescence with this older technology, which is crazy to me. If you have a smartphone, if you get 5 years of support out of it, if you get 5 years of use out of it, that is a miracle. That is a very rare occurrence. I know I won't shut up about it. I am still using the iPhone 10, which I got in 2017. So I have received 6 years of use out of this, which is very rare. And it is rumored, they are discontinuing support of it, operating system support of it this year. So 6 years of use, that's incredible. But here, in my hand, I shouldn't say here because this is an audio podcast, I have a calculator. There are no software updates. There are no security flaws in this. It is a very simple device. And as long as the battery doesn't die, as long as the solar cell doesn't die, as long as I don't throw this off of a balcony, this will function for another 25 years. God willing, it will function for another 25 years. A book, unless it burns up in a fire, or some dictatorial maniac comes in and gathers every single copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to burn them, this is not going to be obsolete as long as my eyes are functioning, and I don't know how much longer that's going to be a thing, but I will be able to read that book. It will not become obsolete. And because this older technology was designed without the same connectivity as a modern smartphone, you don't have to worry about that constant update. That allows you to use it for a much longer time, to spend less money and develop enjoyment. And I hate to say this because it sounds so materialistic, but relationships or memories with these items. You could read the same Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy copy for decades. This Casio G-Shock I'm wearing is largely unchanged from the 1984 design. There has been iterative updates over the last, 40 years almost? That's insane. So it is largely unchanged, and people wear G-Shocks for decades, maybe 10 years. And then you could just replace the resin strap and you're good, or buy a new case and you're good. The movement will be fine as long as it doesn't have a corroded battery in it. I have only had this Sony voice memo recorder for 3 months at this point. There are no software updates. There is no Wi-Fi. I don't need to worry about a new Wi-Fi protocol coming out. I don't need to worry about a certain Bluetooth frequency becoming illegal to use. This is just a simple voice recorder. I turn it on and I record. That's the entire function of it. It does have a little USB stick that pops out so I can plug it into my computer. But that's about it. Very basic, very bare bones stuff. And that is why I have avoided using my smartphone, and over the last year or so, I have been trying to replace a lot of the functions that I use on my smartphone with physical items. Oh, there's one last thing that I thought about. Although this technology is old, in many cases it is better designed. It is more usable. A calculator, for example. First off, an iPad doesn't even have a calculator app. What gives? But secondly, if you actually touch type on a calculator, I find that impossible to use on a smartphone because it's just a touch screen. With a physical calculator, you can feel the buttons and actually do some kind of touch typing on it to add a bunch of stuff up. You could even subtract a bunch of stuff. You could multiply. You could even divide. It is amazing how much more useful some of these physical items are because they are designed for one use and one use only. And that means the people who are designing it need to make damn sure that it does that one thing as good as it possibly can be done. And that is the final reason that I will give you. So a few of the items that I have reverted to. I do have the physical notebook and the physical pen because this is something I learned about myself years ago. Actually writing something down, I am much more likely to remember it as opposed to typing it on a computer. I already shared the actual calculator, the physical calculator. I have a number of these on my desks. A voice memo recorder, a Sony mono voice recorder, so I can avoid having distractions while I'm trying to come up with a song and a melody and stupid lyrics to sing about during a microphone review. I will do that. What's this current one? How's the drive work? You must disclose. Terrible. But it's just me goofing off trying to come up with some kind of melodies and lyrics about aliens. And I don't have to worry about a little notification bell going off and distracting me and making me lose that idea that I had. Physical books. The smell is just something special. I'll tell you what, Kindles don't smell like anything. Maybe child labor. I don't know if I can say that. Probably some kind of unethical labor practices is what the Kindle smells like, but a book that smells like dead trees, and that's amazing. A standalone podcast player, a tiny little thing. It does podcast playing well. And I don't have this constant desire to, oh, I don't like this one, I'm going to go search for a new podcast. I subscribe to the podcast that I subscribe to for a very specific reason. I am going to listen to them. I will make it through them. And now that I do 1x playback, I am fine with the fact that some of the functionality that is better on the smartphone apps isn't as good on this standalone dedicated podcast player. The playback speed, faster, slower, sounds terrible, doesn't have chapter markers, doesn't have any of that. It is very basic. I would love to hear if you have tried to avoid your smartphone use and what kind of items you would like to replace to avoid using your smartphone as much. Let me know in the comments on YouTube.